They trumped up a murder charge to cover it up. A girl had disappeared, and then without a shred of evidence, they went after him. They claimed he used her in some sort of sacrifice.
You must be worried, too, to go to all of this trouble.
Okay, the doctor will see you now.
Thank you. I won't be long. Dr. Corey?
Yes.
I'm Henry Armitage, doctor of philosophy. I'm lecturing at the university in Arkham.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, what can I do for you, Doctor?
I am not sure. I have a rather strange request.
Well, a country doctor's used to them. Please sit down.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, please go ahead.
I'd like to ask you some questions about the Whately family.
Well, that's an odd bird of an ailment. But it flares up now and again in these parts.
Haven't you ever been there?
Are you kidding? I wouldn't go near that place.
Why?
Oh, that place gives me the creeps.
But why?
Well, some say that old Whately and Wilbur aren't alone. That there's something else.
What do you mean, something else?
I don't know exactly, but when I was a little kid, the other children and I, we thought the old Whately house was haunted. Of course, I don't believe that anymore, but I keep away, and so does everyone else. Anyway, the old man and Wilbur, they haven't allowed anyone on the place in years.
Well, a friend of mine is out there right now.
What?
Yeah, she's out there with Wilbur.
Wilbur Whately has a girlfriend. Oh, I don't believe it.
Hasn't it ever happened before?
Not with any girl around here.
I saw your name on the birth records.
Well, you have me in an awkward position, Doctor. And before I can reveal anything to you, I must know the purpose of your inquiry.
Of course. Dr. Corey, this will sound quite fantastic, but I ask your indulgence. Please bear with me and then decide for yourself.
Where the Whateleys are concerned, there is very little that is not fantastic.
I wonder what's going on.
Look, I don't want to worry you. But if I had a friend down at Weird Wilbur's, I'd get her out of there.
Let me put it this way, Doctor. The legend of the Necronomicon has it that long ago the Earth was inhabited by a species from another dimension, with certain chants from the book, coupled with ancient rites and sacrifices. This race, the old ones, can be brought back.
And mankind?
Destroyed.
And from what you've seen of young Whately, you think it's actually possible that he might believe that?
The book, the girl, I don't know what to think. If he does believe the legend, from my impression of Wilbur, he'd be capable of anything. If he does attempt one of those rituals, that girl is in grave danger.
Well, it's hard to accept. But then it wouldn't be the first time that someone else paid the penalty for Whately fanaticism.
Oh?
Yes, you see, it wasn't I who delivered young Whately. It was his grandfather. It's been 25 years, but I'll never forget that day as long as I live. I was in Osborne's store, just chatting with a few of the locals. Old Whately came running in all of a sudden, all wild-eyed and crazier than ever. Nobody ever saw much of the Whateleys in town, so it was a surprise right off. He always took a lot of jeering from the townsfolk. Well, they didn't waste a minute's time before they started in on him.
I don't care what you folks think. If Lavinia's boy looked like his pa, he wouldn't look like nothing you expect. You needn't think that the only folks are the folks hereabouts. Lavinia's read some and has seen some things that most of you can only tell about. Someday, you folks will hear a child of Lavinia's calling his father's name from the top of Sentinel Hill. And then you'll know. And you'll wish to God you didn't.
All right, fellas, that's it. As I entered the bedroom, there were two elderly albino women, robed entirely in black, standing watchfully over her. She was burning up with fever and soaking wet. God only knows what went on out there that day. It was plain to see she'd been out in the rain. They told me that she'd had twins. One of them was stillborn. Well, I never saw the body, and since old Whately has not allowed anyone out there since, it's possible that baby may have lived. It's a miracle that Wilbur came through it all right. Lavinia's insides were all torn up. Well, I did everything I could for her. She was so far gone, I was lucky to save her life. Her mind was gone forever. Of course, we never did find out who the father was.
And the two old women?
I don't know. I never saw them around here before or since.
Where's Lavinia now?
Oh, it's a man. Kill them all. It's a man. Kill them
It is hard to believe that she's only 45 years old.
She's been here now for more than 20 years. There's been no appreciable change.
Walk unseen, foul, in lonely places. Old one. Oh, my sons, open the gate, my sons.
Could I go in and talk to her?
I'm afraid not. She's violent. At times extremely so.
I'd like to try.
It wouldn't do any good. Lavinia? Lavinia? I want to talk to you.
Kill them all! It's me! Kill them all!
Do you think it had an